Tired of chasing success that crumbles when life hits hard? In this audiobook, discover the exact blueprint to build unbreakable character first, so victory lasts. Welcome to Audiobook Journey, your masterclass in self-improvement. You'll uncover 3 game-changing takeaways: the hidden illusion of overnight wins, resilience that turns setbacks into strength, and purpose that fuels lifelong triumph. Hit subscribe and tap the bell, then use chapter timestamps to jump right in. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, waves crashing wildly against jagged rocks. The storm rages, wind howling like a beast unleashed. You're not just any sailor, you're the captain of your life, gripping the wheel as success glimmers on the horizon like a distant lighthouse. But here's the secret whisper of the sea. Success without character is a ship built on sand. It crumbles under the first real gale. What if I told you that every titan of triumph you admire didn't chase glory first? They forged their soul in the fire of unseen trials. Right now, in this moment, you're on the cusp of a revelation that could redefine your entire path. Lean in, listener. This isn't just a story. It's your unspoken hunger for true, unbreakable victory. Let's dive into the depths together, where character is born before crowns are worn. Chapter 1: The Illusion of Overnight Triumph. Close your eyes for a moment and picture this. A lone figure stands atop a glittering stage, spotlights blazing, crowds roaring in adoration. Confetti rains down like golden tears from the heavens. The world calls it overnight success, a meteor streaking across the sky, blinding and brief. But lean closer. Listener, feel the tremor in that figure's hands, the hollow echo beneath the cheers. What if I told you this triumph was never overnight? It was forged in the suffocating dark of forgotten nights, where dreams clawed for breath amid relentless failure. Right now, in the quiet of your listening, you're piercing that very illusion, the shimmering veil that tricks so many into chasing shadows instead of substance. This is where our journey begins. You and I, unraveling the grand deception that success springs fully formed from luck or lightning strikes. You've felt it, haven't you? That pang, when stories of prodigies flood your feed, the entrepreneur who built an empire in months, the artist discovered from nowhere. They dazzle, they inspire, but they leave you stranded, wondering why your own efforts yield only echoes. The truth cuts deeper. True success demands character first, a bedrock carved from unseen labor. Without it, achievements are mirages, evaporating under pressure. This chapter strips away the fantasy, revealing the raw, unvarnished forge, where victors are made long before the victory lap. Let me take you into the life of Marcus, a carpenter in a dusty Midwestern town. By day he hammered nails for others' dreams, homes rising sturdy under his calloused hands, nights blurred into a ritual of solitude, sketches sprawled across his kitchen table, visions of his own furniture lying dancing in flickering lamplight. Rejections piled like winter snow, 50, 100 letters curtly stating not quite right. Friends urged him to quit, to settle for the steady paycheck. But Marcus pressed on, each no, a chisel sharpening his resolve. 5 years in, one design caught an eye, then another. Suddenly galleries clamored, magazines profiled him as the overnight sensation. The world saw fireworks. Marcus saw the embers of 1,000 unseen fires. What gripped him wasn't the sale, it was the quiet alchemy of persistence turning pain into power. You see, listener, the illusion thrives on selective storytelling. We worship the summit selfie, blind to the blisters from the climb. Character emerges not in applause but in the arena of anonymity, where choices define you. Imagine your own hidden battles, the project abandoned at midnight, the goal whispered only to your mirror. Those are your forge moments, where discipline whispers louder than doubt. Embrace them. They aren't punishments, they're initiations into a league few enter. Reflect with me on the oak tree towering in your neighborhood park. Its branches sway majestically against storms, roots delving 20 feet deep into Earth's silent grip. No one marvels at those roots, twisted, battling rock and drought in perpetual dark. Yet without them, the oak is kindling. Your character mirrors this. Invisible labors, anchoring visible triumphs. Rush the surface, and you topple. Cultivate the depths, and tempests become tales. I've watched lives transform when this truth dawns, not through grand gestures, but daily defiance of the easy path. Consider the athlete we all idolize, crossing the finish line in record time. Cameras capture the glory sweat, the pumped fist. But rewind the tape in your mind. Dawn runs through pouring rain, muscles screaming mutiny, coaches barking one more lap. That gold medal, it's the bloom of seeds sown in suffering. Success without this foundation crumbles. Scandals erupt, retirements unravel. Character, though, endures. It whispers to you now. Stop envying the finish. Honor the training ground. Let this sink into your bones, listener. The illusion preys on impatience, luring you with shortcuts that sour into regret. Realize this. Every empire builder, from inventors tinkering in garages to leaders rising from ashes, endured the overnight myth's long night. They built inward first, stacking virtues like bricks, grit in the grind, faith in the fallow. You possess this capacity. Today, audit your illusions. What quick win tempts you? Counter it with a single, deliberate step into the shadows. The email sent despite fear, the skill practiced despite fatigue. Feel the shift. That's character quickening, the quiet roar before the storm. Now transport yourself to a mountain village, where a young shepherd named Lila tended flocks on rugged slopes. Villagers whispered of distant cities brimming with fortune. One day she saved every coin for a ticket out, arriving with dreams ablaze. Reality met her like a slap. Jobs scarce, doors slammed, months blurred into hunger-fueled resolve. She scrubbed floors by day, studied trade secrets by night. Years later, her leather goods graced boutiques worldwide. Overnight, headlines lied. Lila smiled, knowing the truth. Character was her currency, earned in exile. This pattern pulses through history's veins. The writer whose manuscript yellowed in drawers before bestseller lists. The scientist whose experiments failed 1,000-fold before breakthrough. They didn't chase crowns. They claimed cause. You, listener, stand at this threshold, shed the illusion, and freedom floods in. No longer slave to fleeting hype, but architect of enduring legacy. Let urgency ignite you. Your next choice forges or fractures. As we linger here in Chapter 1's Revelations, feel the weight lift. The myth of instant glory dissolves, replaced by empowering clarity. You've glimpsed the foundation character as the silent architect of all that lasts. But foundations alone don't build cathedrals. What holds it steady through temptation's gales? That unyielding compass of the soul, tested when no eyes watch. Turn the page with me now, into the realm of integrity, your North Star awaiting. Chapter 2, Integrity as your North Star. Imagine a solitary lighthouse piercing the black heart of a midnight storm, its beam slicing through churning waves and howling gales like a defiant promise. No ship sees the keeper inside, wrestling chains in the wind-whipped tower, fueling the lamp through bone-deep exhaustion, yet that light saves souls adrift. Listener, that keeper is you, your integrity, burning steady when tempests rage, and no one watches. In this moment, Feel the pull. What if the choices you make alone, in the quiet shadows of your life, are the very signals that summon enduring success? We're diving into the soul's unerring compass now, where integrity doesn't just guide, it defines. From the ashes of illusion in our last chapter, we step into integrity's sacred ground, the unbreakable core that turns fleeting wins into legacies. This isn't about perfection, it's the raw commitment to truth. When lies whisper sweeter songs, you've sensed its absence, haven't you? That gnawing regret after a small compromise, a white lie to save face, a corner cut for quick gain. Integrity anchors you, whispering, stand tall even if it costs. It's the difference between a house of cards and one of stone, weathering life's fiercest blasts. Here we unearth its power, not as a rule book, but as your deepest liberation. Let me draw you into the world of Samuel, a baker in a bustling coastal village where whispers of scarcity bred desperation. Flour shortages hit hard. Competitors stretched meager stocks with fillers, pocketing extra coin from unsuspecting tongues. Samuel faced the same pinch, shelves emptying, families going without. One stormy evening, alone in his dim shop, he weighed the temptation, mix in cheap sawdust, just this once, to feed his own growing children. His hands trembled over the bin, but a deeper voice rose. Who are you when the door's locked? He chose truth, baking smaller loaves with pure grain, posting honest signs of shortage. Word spread like dawn light. Neighbors lined up, not for volume but for trust. His ovens never cooled again. Rivals faded into regret. Samuel's story mirrors the quiet revolutions within us all. Integrity forges in isolation, etching your true shape. Picture it as a river carving canyon walls over eons, unseen force yielding timeless beauty. When you honor your word in solitude, you sculpt a self others instinctively follow. No fanfare needed. The ripple reaches shores afar. Ask yourself now, in your last private moment of pressure, a deadline fudge, a secret vent of anger, what path did you take? That choice echoes eternally, building or eroding your North Star. Transport deeper with me to an ancient forge, flames leaping like living spirits. The smith shapes iron not by force alone, but by patient heat and unyielding hammer. True metal emerging purer each strike. Your integrity works the same. Trials temper it, revealing alloys of deceit or veins of gold. I've witnessed executives crumble under spotlight scrutiny, their private shortcuts exposed like fault lines. Yet those who lived true in hidden hours, they rose unscathed, beacons drawing teams like moths to flame. This virtue isn't optional armor, it's your essence, refined in fire. Feel this truth pulse in your chest, listener. Integrity liberates, because it aligns outer actions with inner light, no energy wasted on facades. Consider the teacher grading papers late into night. Temptation nudges, inflates scores for popularity. She resists, marking fairly, hearts heavy but honest. Years on, her students return not for grades, but guidance, live shaped by that unseen rigor. Success chases such souls, for trust is currency kings can't mint. Cultivate it fiercely. Pause before every word, weigh every deed against your silent oath. Watch chains of doubt dissolve. Freedom. Now envision Elena, the bridge builder spanning a treacherous ravine for her isolated community. Engineers warned of unstable rock. Cutting costs meant shortcuts in beams. Alone with blueprints under lantern glow, she traced the lines, visions of children crossing safely, clashing with budget's bite. Integrity surged, reinforce fully or not at all. Funds ran dry, villagers doubted. She sold her own land to finish true. The bridge stands today, weathered but whole, carrying generations. Overnight success, some say. No, integrity's patient triumph. This force transcends eras, binding us to ancestors who chose right amid peril, the healer refusing bribes for false cures, saving lives over ledgers. The parent admitting faults to wide-eyed children, modeling strength in vulnerability. Integrity isn't loud heroics. It's daily devotion to truth's quiet call. Neglect it, and success sours, partnerships fracture, reputations shatter. Honor it, and doors swing wide, unforced. You're wired for this, listener. Today, reclaim one compromised corner. The unspoken apology, the full disclosure. Feel the alignment. That's your compass calibrating. Let gratitude swell for this gift, integrity as navigator through moral fogs. It demands courage, yes, but rewards with unshakable peace. No longer tossed by whims or winds of convenience, you chart courses others envy. As whispers of temptation fade, a fiercer forge awaits. The tempests that test not your truth, but your endurance. What rises when all seems lost? Turn with me now to resilience, the unbreakable core beckoning just beyond. Chapter 3, Resilience, the unbreakable core. Picture a lone bamboo grove on a storm-lashed mountainside, winds shrieking like vengeful spirits, bending stalks to the breaking point. They whip and creak, but never shatter, yielding gracefully, then springing back taller, roots drinking deep from the chaos. Listener, that's your essence calling now, resilience, the hidden force rising not against the gale, but through it. Feel the storm in your own life, the sudden job loss, the shattered dream, the betrayal that left you hollow. What if I whispered that these aren't endings, but the very crucible birthing your unbreakable core? We're plunging into this vital fire together, where pain transmutes into power. Building on integrity's steady light from our last chapter, resilience emerges as the muscle that endures when foundations quake. This isn't mere survival, it's triumphant rebirth, the soul's refusal to be defined by downfall. You've known the sting, haven't you? That moment knees buckle, hope flickers out, and the world narrows to one aching question. Why me? Resilience answers not with escape, but embrace, transforming wounds into wisdom. It forges the core success leans on, turning fragile dreams into ironclad destinies. Here we awaken this dormant giant within. Step by visceral step. Step into the boots of Javier, a fisherman whose boat splintered against hidden reefs one fog-shrouded dawn, nets lost, livelihood drowned, washing ashore broken and penniless, village pity stung worse than salt in cuts. His wife wept, children hungry, despair clawed like crabs, yet Javier rose at first light, scavenging driftwood, mending lines from frayed ropes. Neighbors scoffed, fool's errand. Months ground on, storms mocking his tiny craft. Then, one hall brimmed with bounty, word spread of the unbreakable angler, not luck, resilience, reborn from wreckage, drawing fortune to its unyielding pull. Javier's arc reveals resilience's rhythm. Fall fully, then forge forward. It's the phoenix, not avoiding flame, but dancing in it, wings spreading wider. Envision your scars now, the promotion denied, the love that faded. They aren't blemishes, they're badges, mapping depths of strength, untapped. Train this core deliberately. When blows land, breathe into the bruise. Name the pain aloud, then act. One small defiance, like a walk through rain, or a skill reclaimed. Feel vitality surge. That's resilience quickening, weaving fragility into fortitude. Drift with me to a desert wadi after flash flood fury, where a single acacia clings, bark scarred, branches stripped bare, roots plunge defiant into cracked earth, drawing life where none should thrive. Your resilience mirrors this tenacious tree, surface ravaged, essence invincible. I've seen it in the widow rebuilding after loss, stitching quilts from grief's threads into community lifelines, or the inventor whose prototypes exploded 100 times, each blast a lesson etched in smoke. Blows don't break, they burnish, polishing raw ore to gleaming steel. Let this truth root in your marrow, listener. Resilience thrives on ritual. After every tumble, ritualize recovery. Journal the fracture, what cracked, what endured. Celebrate the stand, however shaky. It rewires your spirit, shifting from victim to victor. Consider the marathoner collapsing at mile 20. Legs lidden, crowd blurring. She crawls, then crawls upright, one step mocking defeat. Finish line crossed, not by speed, but surrender to the struggle. Your races mirror this, deadlines that devour, relationships that rupture. Rise anyway, each ascent compounds, core hardening like diamond under pressure. Now meet Aisha, the weaver orphaned young in a famine-ravaged valley. Looms silent, threads scarce, she bartered stories for scraps. Drought deepened, hope withered like her warp, yet nights found her twisting fibers by fire glow. Patterns born of loss, fabrics telling tales of endurance. Travelers carried them afar, orders flooded. Miracle they marveled. Aisha knew resilience, her silent loom, weaving scarcity into splendor. This alchemy spans souls and seasons, the elder sharing wisdom after decades of want. The youth coding through rejection slips, algorithms alive at last. Resilience isn't armored invulnerability, it's elastic grace, rebounding richer. Starve it, and fragility festers, quitting at first hurdle. Success forever chased. Nourish it, and you magnetize miracles, bending reality to your bend but break not will. Today, claim yours, face one lingering ache, head on, act through it, witness the alchemy pain, parting like mist, strength striding forth. Gratitude blooms here for life's fierce teachers, sculpting cores no comfort could craft. You've felt the first flex now, listener, resilience stirring from slumber. Satisfaction settles, yet horizons beckon. Even the strongest keel lists without balance. What tempers triumphs swell with grounded grace. Glide with me into humility's quiet power, the soil where true giants take root. Chapter 4. Humility's quiet power. Envision a colossal redwood piercing the canopy in an ancient forest, its trunk wider than 10 men embracing, branches cradling clouds, thunder cracks, lighting scars its bark, yet it stands serene, roots whispering secrets to the soil, rather than shouting supremacy to the sky. No crown of arrogance adorns it, just silent sovereignty earned through yielding to winds that would topple the proud. Listener, this is humility's profound paradox, not cowering in shadows, but rising through them with a power that commands without conquest. Feel it stir within you now. What if the greatest strength lies not in domination, but in the gentle art of lowering yourself to lift others higher? We're entering this sacred realm together, where ego dissolves and true authority awakens. Rising from resilience's forged steel, in our previous chapter, humility becomes the balancing grace that prevents power from corroding into pride. This virtue isn't self-effacement or apology for existence, it's the clear-eyed recognition of your place in the vast tapestry of life, opening doors wisdom alone can't unlock. You've tasted ego's trap, haven't you? That rush of "I did this alone," leading to isolation, then isolation's bitter fall. Humility liberates, inviting collaboration, growth, and opportunities that swagger repels. It tills the soul's soil, fertile for seeds of lasting success. Here we cultivate this quiet force, transforming perceived weakness into your most magnetic might. Walk with me into the life of Toughness, a master chef in a city of culinary giants, his tiny bistro overshadowed by neon-lit palaces. Accolades eluded him, critics dismissed his humble fare. One evening, a renowned food writer dined incognito. Toughness didn't boast techniques. He listened intently to her subtle cues, then adjusted a dish on the fly, crediting her insight aloud. "Your palate taught me this twist," he said simply. She raved in print. Crowds surged. Michelin stars followed, not from flair, but from humility's bow. Learning from every guest, every critique, ego aside, his empire grew not upward in arrogance, but outward in gratitude. Toughness embodies humility's harvest. It multiplies through openness. Picture a vast ocean, waves crashing with fury, yet the deepest currents flow unseen, shaping shores without fanfare. Your humility operates thus, subtle undercurrents drawing allies, ideas, breakthroughs. When was your last chance to learn dismissed by defensiveness? Reclaim it. Approach conversations as student first, sharing second. Ask genuine questions. What do you see that I miss? Watch bonds deepen, insights flood. This isn't diminishment, it's expansion, soul stretching to hold more light. Drift to a potter's wheel in a rain-soaked studio, clay spinning soft under skilled hands. The vessel warps, pride would smash it in frustration. Humility pauses, wets fingers, reshapes with patience. Beauty emerges refined, flaws integrated into grace. So too your journey. Setbacks aren't failures, but invitations to remodel. I've beheld leaders humbled by missteps, publicly owning errors, emerging trusted guides. The braggart builds walls, the humble bridges, success flowing freely across. Let this wisdom seep into your spirit, listener. Humility fuels ascent by fostering feedback loops, ego silences. Ritualize it daily, name one limitation aloud, seek one counsel, feel vulnerability bloom into velocity. Consider the gardener tending midnight blooms, not for show but symbiosis, pollinators drawn to unassuming nectar. Her garden thrives communal, yours can too. In meetings, homes, pursuits, lead by serving, amplify others' voices. Doors fling open, promotions, partnerships, magnetized by your grounded glow. Now behold Mira, the architect, restoring a crumbling cathedral in a forgotten town. Blueprints demanded flashy additions for funding. Locals urged grandeur, alone under vaulted arches. Moonlight pooling like liquid silver. She chose restraint, preserve essence, enhance subtlety. Donors balked. Too modest, Mira knelt, tracing ancient stones. These walls teach silence. Completion stunned. Pilgrims flocked. Preservationists funded expansions. Her name etched not in gold, but gratitude's stone. Humility's blueprint. Honor what's greater than self. Across epochs, this power pulses. The sage advising kings from straw mat. Wisdom outweighing thrones. The innovator crediting teams in victory speeches. Loyalty unbreakable. Humility isn't absence of even. It's purified pursuit, untainted by need for credit. Shun it, and plateaus await. Solo climbs to lonely peaks. Embrace it, and summits summon companions. Success, shared and sustained. Today, practice yield right of way, literal or figurative. Savor the freedom, ego's burden lifted, path cleared. Cherish this chapter's gift. Listener, humility as the great leveler, elevating all it touches. You've tasted its soil now, rich with potential. Fulfillment roots here, yet fire awaits kindling. Even humble hearts flicker without steady fuel. what harnesses passion's wild blaze into purposeful flame. Journey onward with me to discipline the hearth, where desires bow to destiny. Chapter 5. Discipline over desire. Feel the raw pulse of a blacksmith's forge at dawn, coals glowing crimson, hammer rising and falling with rhythmic fury on molten iron. Sparks fly like defiant stars, sweat rivers down etched skin, each strike not born of fleeting whim but iron-willed rhythm. The blade emerges not in ecstasy's rush, but discipline's deliberate dance, sharpened for battles yet unfought. Listener, this is your inner fire calling. Discipline, the sovereign harness taming desire's wild stallion into a steed that carries you to horizons undreamed. What if the chaos of cravings you've battled, late-night scrolls, impulse buys, forsaken vows, holds the key to mastery? We're igniting this forge now, where fleeting wants yield to enduring will. From humility's fertile ground in our last chapter, discipline rises as the architect's blueprint, channeling potential into palaces of purpose. This isn't grim denial, it's sacred sovereignty, choosing long-term glory over momentary glow. You've wrestled it, haven't you? That siren song of the snooze button, the dessert-devouring resolve, the tomorrow that steals today's. Discipline liberates, transforming slaves of impulse into captains of destiny. It builds the bridge success traverses, brick by unswerving brick. Here, we awaken this commanding force, forging chains of habit into wings of freedom. Enter the world of Lena, a violinist in a grey industrial city, her fingers calloused from strings that bit back. Conservatory dreams mocked her modest means. Peers partied while she practiced scales in a freezing attic. Desire screamed for warmth. Friends, fun, temptations thick as fog. Dawn after dawn, she rose at 4, bow whispering through arpeggios as streetlights faded. Auditions crushed her, technique solid, but soul lacks fire. Doubt gnawed. One stormy night, she nearly snapped the violin across her knee. Discipline held. One more measure, years etched lines on her face. Then a symphony hall spotlight. Solos soared worldwide. Not talent alone, but desire bowed to daily devotion. Lena's saga unveils discipline's alchemy. It transmutes drudgery into delight. Envision a river harnessed by a dam, wild floods, now powering cities, steady current, illuminating nights. Your discipline dams distractions, channeling energy to light your path. Recall your lapses, the gym bag gathering dust, the book half read. Reclaim command, craft non-negotiable anchors, sunrise journaling, evening wind down, sans screens. The resistance burns first, then fades. Rhythm replaces rebellion. Feel the throne form beneath you. Impulse kneels, mastery crowns, deepen into a watchmaker's dim workshop. Gears minuscule, tweezers steady as prayer. One slip shatters hours. Desire for speed courts ruin. He breathes, aligns, turns, timepiece ticking eternal. So your days, haste, harvests, haste. Discipline, eternity. I've seen entrepreneurs skip indulgences, empires rising from evenings reclaimed. The coder debugging till midnight, algorithms alive by morn. Discipline isn't punishment, it's priesthood, consecrating hours to higher calls. Let this power course through your veins. Listener, it compounds invisibly. Skipped temptations stack into summits, scaled. Ritualize fiercely one habit chain daily tracked without mercy. Ache signals growth. Embrace it. Picture the sculptor chipping marble at twilight, visions emerging stroke by patient stroke. Distractions? Discarded like flawed stone. Her David stands timeless. Yours will too. In career leaps, relational depth, self-sculpted sublime. Now, witness Kai, the distance runner training coastal trails where cliffs plunge to sea. Legs screamed mutiny after miles, mind plotted couches. Coach's wisdom, desire finishes sprints, discipline marathons. Tournaments taunted with easy withdrawals. Kai mapped routes unmissable, rain or blaze. Body protesting, will prevailing. Olympic trials loomed. Favorites faltered on whims. Kai crossed first, not fastest raw, but relentlessly refined. Podium gold gleamed, forged in forsaken comforts. This thread weaves through human tapestry. The scholar pouring texts past fatigue, discoveries dawning, the parent rising early for children's futures, sacrifices silent, discipline purifies ambition, stripping excess till essence shines. Ignore it, and desires devour, potential's pods unopened, wield it, and success salutes, drawn to your unyielding orbit. Today seize one surrender, deny the scroll, claim the stretch, savor sovereignty's surge. Honor this chapter's blaze, listener discipline as desire's wise warden, fueling flights no whim could wing. You've kindled the hearth now, warmth spreading, yet even steady flames flicker in gales. What propels you through terror's shadow? Advance with me to courage, the blade that cleaves fear, unveiling valor within. Chapter 6. Courage in the face of fear. Hear the thunderous roar of a colossal wave towering over a lone surfer in shark-infested waters, foam churning white fury, heart slamming like war drums against ribs. He paddles into the maw, muscles screaming, terror coiling cold in his gut. Yet he rises, board-slicing crest, riding the beast to shore unbroken. Not fearless, no, bravely terrified, choosing action over paralysis. Listener, this surge awakens in you now. Courage, the defiant stride through fear's gaping jaws, transforming dread into destiny's doorway. What shadows have frozen you? The pitch that could shatter, the truth too raw to voice, the leap leaving safety's ledge. Feel the wave building. We're cresting it together, where fear met becomes fuel for flight. Erected on discipline's unyielding frame from our prior chapter, courage ignites the spark that propels through peril's veil. This isn't bravado's bluster or absence of alarm, it's the sacred act of advancing heart-pounding, honoring the call beyond comfort's cage. You've cowered in its shadow, haven't you? That knot in throat silencing dreams, the what-if chaining potential to peer. Courage unshackles, birthing breakthroughs. Success secretly craves. It carves paths where walls loomed, revealing realms reserved for the bold-hearted. Here, we summon this primal force wielding fear as ally in ascent. Step into Raphael's storm-tossed tale, a young engineer in a decaying factory town, blueprints trembling in his grip. His radical design promised to save the mill from closure, sleek machinery slashing waste, jobs preserved. But bosses sneered. Boys' fantasy stick to bolts. Peers whispered mutiny. Ridicule awaited presentation. Sleepless nights bred visions of failure's fallout. Family evicted. Legacy as fool. Dawn broke. Raphael stood, voice cracking at first, then stealing. This works, or we all sink. Mockery peaked. Then data silenced. Prototype hummed, flawless. Mill thrived. Raphael rose, not unscathed, but sovereign over fear's former throne. Raphael reveals courage's cadence. Name the fright, then navigate it. Imagine a climber scaling sheer granite, abyss yawning below, fingers slipping on holds slick with sweat. Panic whispers retreat, courage commands grip. One precarious pull higher, your cliffs echo this. The interview spotlight, the confrontation mending rift, the venture birthing from void. Confront deliberately, list fears stark, then counter with micro moves, rehearse aloud, script the stand. Tremors, their tremors transmuting to thrust. Witness the shift. Paralysis parting, power pulsing forth. Venture to a miner's vein deep underground, lantern flickering against collapsing timbers, air thick with dust demons, panic surges. He sings hymns to steady breath, inching toward light. Songs become legend, rescuers find him first to aid others. Your depths mirror buried potentials, dark doubts, courage illuminates. Probe one cavern today, voice that buried opinion, chase that elusive contact. I've seen artists unveil raw works amid jeers, canvases later coveted. Salesmen dial cold lines despite slams, pipelines flooding gold. Fear-faced ferments fortitude, exponential in echo. Let this valor vivify your core, listener. It cascades. Small scares slain spawn giants felled. Anchor it in action, daily dare logged, victories voiced. Resistance rages, then relents, rhythm reigns. Envision the navigator charting reefs at dusk, stars veiled, breakers snarling doom. Compass clutched, he threads peril. New trade routes born. Your voyages too, career pivots, honest reckonings. Courage captains, charting uncharted to promised land. Now encounter Sophia, the whistleblower in a corporate colossus rife with rot. Ledgers cooked, lives risked. Silence bought comfort, exposure exile. Boardroom loomed, knees quaked, palms slick. Allies vanished, isolation iced her spine. She spoke, facts falling like guillotines, empire quivering, fallout fierce, lawsuit, smears, solitude, yet truth triumphed. Reforms rippled industry-wide, Sophia summoned to advise nations, courage's crown, not acclaim immediate, but impact immortal. This veins victory's vault. The medic charging gunfire for wounded foes, lives linked eternal, the inventor pitching sharks after shipwrecks of scorn, fortunes forged. Courage compounds quietly, fear's frequency fading, fluency in fronting rising. Evade it, and echoes of almost haunt embrace, and eras expand. Today, target terror, step into arena once dodged, revel in release, chains cloven, wings widespread. Treasure this torrent, listener. Courage as fear's faithful forge, hammering hesitation to heroism. You've mounted the wave now, exhilaration electric. Yet even valiant voyagers veer without vigilant tempo. What steadies the sprint through stalled seasons? Sail onward with me to patience, the sculptor's patient chisel, crafting masterpieces from waiting's willing hands. Chapter 7. Patience, the sculptor's art. Witness a master sculptor in moonlit marble hall, chisel kissing stone with feather-light precision, flecks drifting like winter's first snow. Hours bleed into nights, form emerging not in frenzy's fury, but patient communion, each tap unveiling beauty slumbering within unyielding rock. No haste hacks the masterpiece, impatience shatters it to shards. Listener, this sacred pause echoes in your hurried heart. Now, patience, the artist's unhurried hand, shaping raw chaos into timeless grace. Feel the world's whirlwind tugging you, deadlines devouring dreams, now or never, gnawing at peace. What if waiting weren't waste, but the wizardry wielding true wonders? We're stepping into this timeless studio together, where time bends to the steady soul, crowning courage's bold strides from our last chapter. Patience unfurls as the tempo tempering haste into harmony, crafting legacies that outlast lightning flashes. This virtue isn't passive surrender or idle drift. It's active trust in unfolding, The quiet conviction that seasons serve the sower. You've raged against delays, haven't you? Promotions pending, loves lingering, goals gasping in gridlock. Frustrations fire scorching serenity. Patience nourishes, ripening rushes into riches, success savors. It polishes the impatient into paragons, turning trials into treasures. Here, we master this gentle art, wielding weight as your sharpest tool. Enter the realm of Nora, a vintner in sun-baked vineyards, where vines twisted like ancient lovers under relentless skies. Harvest rushed too early once, grapes green, wine tart as regret, bottles gathering dust. Debts mounted, lenders loom. Nora vowed amendment, prune severely, thin clusters, let sun kiss slowly. Seasons cycled, neighbors harvested hasty yields, toasting quick coin. Hers hung heavy, untouched till precise ripeness. Deep purple jewels bursting with nectar, first vintage poured velvet, connoisseurs clamored, sellers sold seasons ahead. Not speed, but patience palette painted her fortune. Nora's nectar unveils patience's poetry. It distills essence through endurance. Picture a seed buried in barren soil, darkness pressing, silence mocking, yet roots quest quietly, shoots piercing crust at heaven's hour. Your plantings parallel, ventures vested, relationships ripening, wisdom welling slow. Counter urgency, map milestones unhurried, savor interim soil turns. The itch fades, anticipation alchemizes, feel roots radiating. Patience plants permanence where impulses uproot. Descend to a pearl diver's depth. Oyster clenched in current-torn grip, irritant grinding within. Years lay a nacre, transforming torment to treasure, lustrous orb born of prolonged embrace. Your irritants too, conflicts coating character, obstacles orbing opportunity. I've witnessed mentors waiting for prodigies' readiness, apprentices blooming brilliant, builders holding blueprints through funding famines, spires soaring superior. Patience isn't postponement, it's pregnancy. Gestating greatness, gestation demands. Let this lullaby soothe your spirit, listener. It accrues abundantly. Deferred gratifications dawn dazzling. Sanctify it. Daily decree one delay, embraced, logged, like love letters. Discomfort dances away, depth descends. Envision the calligrapher's brush, hovering o'er rice paper, ink poised, stroke flowing, flawless in measured breath. Haste blots, patience scripts sonnets. Your scripts summon projects polished patient, bonds burnished by time's tender touch. Now behold Theo, the cartographer charting untraveled wilds for empire's expansion. Expeditions failed, jungles swallowing scouts, maps muddled, court demanded haste, rivals rushed reckonings, realms misled. Theo retreated to tower, pouring parchments, interviewing survivors, sketching solitary. Moons waned, monarchs mocked Melinger. Voyage launched at last. Theo's tracings true treasures unearthed, territories tamed. Legends lauded his instant insight. Theo traced veins to vigilant vigil. This virtue vines through epochs. The herbalist steeping leaves through trial brews, cures crystallizing calm. The composer stacking sketches, spanning symphonies, crescendos cascading complete. Patience purifies process, sifting superficial from sublime. Spurn it, and harvests hollow rushed roads to ruin. Steward it, and seasons salute. Success ripening reliably. Today, tend one tardy bloom. Withhold the prod, permit the process. Delight in dawn's delay. Turn deliverance. Embrace this chapter's embrace. Listener patience, as the great gestation, birthing breakthroughs no blitz birth. You've entered the studio now, chisel confident in hand. Serenity settles, yet connections crave cultivation. What weaves souls into symphonies, supporting strides? Wander with me to empathy's hidden strength. The bridge building bonds unbreakable. Chapter 8. Empathy's hidden strength. Sense the tender bridge of a mother's hand clasping her child's trembling palm amid a roaring crowd. Chaos swirling like a vortex of strangers, yet in that simple touch, isolation dissolves into unbreakable alliance. Fear fleeing before connection's quiet conqueror. No grand gesture, just profound presence, weaving two souls into fortified sanctuary. Listener, this invisible thread vibrates in you now. Empathy, the hidden strength, forging bonds that bolster empires and heal hidden fractures. Feel the disconnection gnawing at your world, colleagues colliding in conflict, friendships fraying from unseen wounds, teams tearing under tension. What if seeing through another's eyes weren't weakness, but the superpower summoning successes, secret allies? We're crossing this bridge together, where hearts linked lift higher than lone climbs ever could. Emanating from patience's ripening wisdom in our previous chapter, empathy blooms as the connective tissue binding individual virtues into collective might, turning solitary strivers into symphony conductors of shared triumph. This isn't sentimental pity or surface sympathy. It's soul-deep immersion, stepping into another's storm to co-navigate calm. You've overlooked it, haven't you? The snapped reply masking exhaustion, the silence screaming for solace. Opportunities lost in oblivious advance. Empathy equips, magnetizing loyalty success desperately needs. It transforms transactions into treasures, rivals into reinforcements. Here we unearth this relational rocket fuel, cultivating vision that sees beyond self to summon synergy. Immerse in the saga of Harlan, a factory foreman in Rust Belt shadows, where machines growled and morale molded. Production plummeted, blame bounced like hot rivets. Harlan didn't decree demands, he lingered after shifts, listening to welders' weariness, machinists' muffled aches. What weighs on you heaviest? He asked, eyes locking without judgment. Stories spilled, aching backs from jammed ergonomics, fears of layoffs shadowing home fires. Harlan redesigned stations collaboratively, shifts flexing around family rhythms. Output soared, loyalty locked in, workers innovating overtime, unprompted. Not mandates, but empathy's embrace. Rebuilt the beast. Harlan's harmony reveals empathy's essence. It unlocks untapped reservoirs in others. Imagine roots of ancient banyan trees intertwining underground, one drawing deep water to quench another's drought. Forest thriving as one resilient web. Your networks entwine similarly. Probe pains beneath postures, reflect them back pure. I hear your burden in that sigh, you might say. Watch walls weaken, wellsprings of wisdom and will fume forth. This practice pivots perspectives. In arguments, absorb before asserting. In leadership, inquire before instructing. Bonds burgeon, breakthroughs beckon. Plunge to a healer's hut in mist-shrouded highlands, villagers queuing with ailments unspoken. She doesn't prescribe blindly, sits knee to knee, tracing tales of toil and terror behind fevers. Remedies rise, relational, herbs for body, words for spirit. Cures cascade, communal, trust tending her legacy. Your healings heal you, mend a teammate's morale, dip with mirrored understanding, salvage a stalled sail by sensing stalled dreams. I've observed mentors mirroring mentees' hurdles, paths parting clearer, negotiators naming unspoken stakes, deals dawning durable. Let this lens clarify your light, listener. Empathy amplifies exponentially. One heart opened opens orbits. Embed it daily, pause mid-converse to paraphrase pains. You're carrying this weight alone, aren't you? Vulnerability validates, velocities vault. Picture the conductor cueing orchestra, not by baton alone, but by feeling each string's strain, woodwinds whisper symphony, swelling sublime. Your ensembles elevate families fortified, ventures vivified by this visceral attunement. Now encounter Leora, the startup founder pitching to skeptical venture lords in glass towers. Numbers dazzled, yet nods stayed neutral. Mid-pitch, she pivoted. Beyond balance sheets, what keeps you awake? Eyes widened, tales tumbled, burned founders, betrayed visions. Leora wove her own scars in, proposing partnerships, protecting their pains. Checks cleared cascades, competitors courted. Not slides, but soul sight sealed the surge. This current courses civilizations. The diplomat decoding despairs behind declarations, pieces patched profound. The coach charting players' private battles, championships claimed collective, empathy elevates enterprise, infusing isolation with interdependence. Neglect it, and alliances atrophy. Success solitary, soon supplanted, harness it, and hordes hail your banner, fortunes flowing freely. Today, target one veiled vista, ask another's unseen angle, revel in revelation, worlds widening warmly, revel in this revelation, listener empathy, as the great gatherer, assembling armies from apparitions. You've bridged the gap now, hands clasped strong, communion completes, yet clarity calls inward. What mirror magnifies missteps into mastery? Venture with me to self-reflection's unflinching gaze, the polish perfecting your presence. Chapter 9. Self-reflection's mirror. Gaze into a still mountain lake at twilight, surface flawless as obsidian, mirroring jagged peaks and drifting stars in perfect, unflinching clarity. No distortion, no mercy for the flaws etched in surrounding stone. One ripple, and truth trembles. Stillness returns, revelation renewed. Listener, this crystalline gaze summons you now, self-reflection, the soul's unyielding mirror stripping illusions to reveal raw architecture beneath. Feel the avoidance in your hurried days, blaming outer storms for inner squalls, dodging the quiet confrontation that could recast your core. What if facing your fractured reflection weren't judgment, but the dawn of deliberate design? We're peering into these depths together, where honest sight sparks sovereign rebirth. Flowing from empathy's outward bridges in our last chapter, self-reflection turns the lens inward, illuminating blind spots that sabotage silent strides toward triumph. This practice isn't navel-gazing torment or self-flagellation. It's courageous cartography, mapping misalignments to realign with destiny's draft. You've evaded it, haven't you? Days dissolving in distraction, reactions reigning unchecked, patterns repeating like unheeded echoes. Reflection refines, transforming reactive rubble into responsive radiance success requires. It hones the hidden self, ensuring virtues aren't performative, but pervasive. Here we ignite this inner inquiry, wielding scrutiny as sculptor of self-mastery. Enter the workshop of Elias, a clockmaker whose intricate timepieces adorned noble mantles, yet whose life ticked in chaotic cycles, deadlines missed, apprentices alienated, innovations stalled in sketchbooks. One frost-bitten evening, alone amid ticking accusations, he shattered routine, lit a single candle, pulled a blank ledger. No excuses, stark questions. What tripped me today? Where did impatience poison precision? Entries exposed, pride preempting counsel, fatigue fueling folly. Nightly vigils followed, winds weighed, wounds witnessed without waver. Months morphed mechanisms, relationships repaired, breakthroughs burst forth. Clocks conquered courts. Elias, once erratic, embodied eternity's even tempo. Elias's ledger lights self-reflection's logic. It dissects drift into direction. Envision a navigator's sextant piercing fog, stars sharpening course amid driftwood deceptions. Your voyages veer similarly. Audit evenings, triumphs tallied, tangles traced rootward. What assumption blinded me? What strengths slumbered, unused? Brutal, initially, then balm, patterns parting, potentials pulsing. This rite rewires, mornings mint intentions from prior pure views, days dance deliberate, feel fractures fusing. Reflection forges foresight where fog once festered. Delve to a gem-cutter's alcove, rough crystal clutched under magnifying lens, facets flawed screaming for slash. One hasty chop ruins rarity. Patient probe unveils veins of valor. Your gems gleam likewise, talents tarnished by unchecked traits, brilliance buried beneath blind reactions. I've beheld executives exhuming ego's excesses in solitary sessions, empires expanding enlightened, artists autopsy and stalled strokes, masterpieces manifesting. Reflection isn't retrospection's rut, it's resurrection, exhuming excellence from error's embrace. Let this light lance your latent layers, listener. It accelerates ascent. Unchecked cycles, circle, examined one's catapult. Institutionalize it. Twilight tribunals, 3 truths owned, 1 pivot plotted. Stings softens strategy, sovereignty surges. Picture the Fletcher straightening arrows by fire glow, warps warmed, yielding to wholeness, flight flawless henceforth. Your arrows aim true, habits honed, hurdles halved by prior preview. Now witness Clara, the merchant navigating spice routes rife with rivals and reefs. Cargoes capsized, deals dissolved, fortune flickered, shipwrecked on solitary isle. She scavenged parchment from wreckage, inscribing indictments, overreach orphaned caution, haste harvested havoc, days distilled discipline from debacle, return revolutionized routes, safer sails, shrewd alliances. Markets marveled at her mystic mastery. Clara credited candlelit confessions, mirror merciless yet merciful. This mirror mantles multitudes. The statesman scrutinizing speeches post-storm, policies purified potent. The athlete analyzing aches after defeats, dominance dawning dominant. Reflection rectifies relentlessly, converting stumbles to strides, sidestep it, and shadows sabotage. Success, superficial, soon shattered. Seize it, and selfhood sharpens, summits. Scaled seamless. Today, confront one clouded corner, chronicle candidly a recent rift. Liberation lifts like dawn. Savor this sanctum's clarity. Listener self-reflection as the great clarifier, burnishing being to brilliance. You've beheld your blueprint now, bold lines emerging, precision perfects, yet plenty beckons beyond. What multiplies harvests already repress. With me to gratitude's abundant harvest, the lens magnifying miracles in motion. Chapter 10. Gratitude's abundant harvest. Breathe in the golden haze of a harvest dawn. Fields bowing heavy with ripened grain under skies, painted in fire-kissed amber. A lone farmer pausing mid-reap, hands soil-stained and reverent, eyes tracing the miracle from barren winter's whisper to this overflowing bounty. No scarcity shadows his smile, only profound thanks swelling like the sheaves themselves, drawing earth's hidden plenty forth in endless cycle. Listener, this radiant reaper stirs in your spirit now. Gratitude, the alchemical lens transmuting lack into lavishness, turning survival's grind into soul-sustaining feast. Sense the complaint clouding your corners, missed chances mourned, envy's acid-etching achievements. What if every breath, every beat weren't owed but offered? Unlocking vaults of vitality success silently seeks. We're reaping this field together, where thankful hearts harvest heavens on earth. Sprouting from self-reflection's sharpened sight in our prior chapter, gratitude emerges as the multiplier, magnifying every virtue into verdant legacy, shifting gaze from voids to vaults brimming unseen. This isn't naive positivity or denial of dark. It's deliberate dawn, choosing abundance as evidence amid apparent absence. You've skimmed its surface, haven't you? Days drowned in deficits, blessings blurred by not enough, progress poisoned by pursuit of more. Gratitude galvanizes, fueling resilience's rebound and discipline's drive with joyful jet fuel. It magnetizes miracles, success gravitating to the generous soul. Here we gather this golden grain, sowing seeds that yield exponentially. Wander into the life of Ronan, a lighthouse keeper, on jagged cliffs, where fog-choked commerce and storms swallowed ships whole. Wages meager, isolation, his constant companion, provisions precarious as passing gales. One battering eve, vessel wrecked yards offshore, survivors washed to his door, half-drowned, gratitude gleaming in their gasps. Ronan shared his sparse stew, mending limbs by firelight. Dawn brought not blame, but baskets from grateful kin, nets, tools, tales, spreading shoreward. Keepership transformed, donations swelled, apprentices arrived, Ronan's warnings warding waves. Not position, but his prior pause each dusk, naming sunsets, salt air, solitude's silence as gifts. Gratitude germinated his garden from granite. Ronan's radiance reveals gratitude's genius. It amplifies assets through awareness. Pictures sunlight piercing leaf canopy, each ray rousing chlorophyll to convert carbon into carbohydrate, growth greedy for glow. Your essence echoes. Catalogue daily dawns, three treasures traced, voiced velvetly, morning's mercy, colleagues' candor, body's quiet carry. Murmurs mount momentum, mindset morphs magnetic. This shift silences scarcity's siren, spotlighting synergies, overlooked. Families flourish from felt fortunes, ventures vault via valued allies, feel fullness flooding. Gratitude gathers gales into gentle winds, sink roots into an ancient olive grove, trees twisted centennials standing sentinel through siege and drought. Fruits few yet fervent, each droop, dripping oil sustaining souls, seasons beyond count. Farmers falter, fixating famine, grateful ones glean gleanings, presses pouring prosperity. Your olives offer likewise. Trials treasured transmute to tonics. I've seen refugees recounting refuge in rags, rebuilding realms remarkable, innovators inventory inspirations amid iterations iced, inventions igniting. Gratitude isn't gloss, it's groundswell, grounding growth in grace. Let this luminescence lavish your life, listener. It cascades contagiously, one thanks voiced voices volumes. Vortices virtue, ritualize reverently, bedside ledger, abundances affirmed. Aspirations aligned grateful, resistance recedes, rapture reigns. Envision the beekeeper tending hives at honeyed hour, bees buzzing blessings back in pollen payloads, harvest hums harmonious, your hives hum too. Networks, nurturing, fortunes flowering from faithful focus. Now behold Ilara, the scribe in shadowed scriptorium, copying chronicles by tallow flicker, patrons parsimonious, pages piling unpaid, plague prowled, provisions pinched. Ilara etched evenings, not laments, but litanies, quills grace. Parchment's purity, knowledge quiet kindle. Manuscript found favor with wandering lord. Copies cascaded coin, commissions crowned her craft. Libraries lauded her legacy. Ilara's luck rooted in nightly nods to now gratitude gilded her grind. This grace graces generations. The nomad, naming stars amid sands shifting, paths parting precise, the artisan appreciating apprentices' angles, ateliers advancing artful, gratitude greases gears of greatness, converting chores to choirs. Dismiss it, and droughts deepen, success starved, solitary, deploy it, and deluges delight. Destinies, dazzling. Today, tally one taken for granted, toast it tenderly. Abundance awakens. Relish this reaper's reward, listener gratitude, as the great gatherer, harvesting heavens from humble hands. You've gleaned the gold now, silos swelling, bounty builds yet blaze beckons deeper. What kindles all virtues into singular flame? Forge forward with me to purpose, the why wielding every what into wonder. Chapter 11. Purpose. Beyond the prize. Stand atop a windswept canyon rim, at first light, river far below, carving eons deep scars through unyielding stone. Each relentless drop, not chasing glory, but compelled by an ancient, inexorable flow toward distant sea. No fanfare for the furrow, just profound propulsion, born of being a force, sculpting majesty from mere motion. Listener, this primordial current surges in your veins now. Purpose, the why, igniting every what, transforming toil into transcendent tide. Feel the hollowness haunting your hustles, titles tallied, fortunes felled, yet souls starving for deeper drive. What if success without this inner river ran dry, a trophy tarnished by tomorrow? We're tracing this canyon's call together, where prizes pale before the pulse of profound intent. Blossoming from gratitude's golden fields in our previous chapter, purpose crystallizes as the lodestar aligning all prior virtues into laser-like legacy, infusing existence with electric essence success alone can't spark. This isn't vague aspiration or ego's empty echo, it's visceral vocation, the fire felt in bones when vision vivifies every venture. You've grazed its glow, haven't you? Days dragged by duty's dull drum, achievements aching absent anchor, pursuits petering into pointlessness. Purpose propels, magnetizing momentum through valleys, turning survivors into sovereigns. It endows endurance, success not endpoint, but expression. Here we divine this divine directive, awakening the why-wielding worlds. Journey with me to the forge of Idris, a blacksmith whose hammers rang hollow in village square, blades bending brittle despite dawn to dusk din. Coin came steady from sickles and plowshares, yet nights, gnawed with nameless void, craft competent, calling concealed. One thunder-riven eve, mending a widow's heirloom sword, visions visited weapons not for war, but wardens, defending hearths, honoring heroes fallen. Purpose pierced, forged tools of protection for the unprotected. He pivoted, blades born bolder, etched with emblems of endurance. Warriors wandered, whispers winging worldwide. Idris's irons immortalized invasions halted, not salesmanship, but soul's summons reforged his fate. Idris's ignition illuminates purpose's potency. It infuses inertia with infinity. Envision a mighty river delta, fanning fertile fingers into ocean's embrace, silt settling, sustaining civilizations, journey justified by junction's joy. Your deltas diverge similarly, excavate essence beyond bank balances, what breaks your heart to behold unbroken. Journal journeys, childhood curiosities, crises compelling action, quiet convictions, quickening pulse, murmurs mount to manifesto, missions materialize magnetic, align acts accordingly. Mornings meditating mandate, choices channeled chaste. Feel fervor flooding, purpose paints paths, luminous where fog once fouled. Plumb the silken depths of a spider's nocturnal web, strands spun solitary under starlight, each filament fraught with fragility, yet faithful to form, trap triumphing tempests, prey provisioned precisely. Your web weaves likewise, talents threaded true sustain spheres, spanning self to society. I've witnessed healers homing hardships healed in youth, hospitals hailing their hands, builders birthing from boyhood blueprints, skylines saluting. Purpose isn't pursuit of peak, it's permeation, saturating seasons with significance. Let this lodestar light your latent longings, listener. It cascades cataclysmically. One Y voiced vaults vistas, anchor it weekly wellsprings, impacts invented, inspirations invoked. Drift dissolves, destiny dawns. Picture the eagle-wheeling thermals vast, not conquesting clouds, but coursing creation's currents. Prey pinpointed, progeny provisioned. Your flights feather faithfully, careers crystallized, communities catalyzed by this clarion call. Now encounter Valeria, the navigator charting polar passages where ice clenched ships in crystalline coffins. Expeditions earned acclaim, yet adrift in accolades, afterglow maps masterful, meaning maroon, blizzard-bound, pouring faded logs by aurora's gleam. Revelation roared, roots not riches but rescuers, guiding stranded souls, stitching separated shores. Return revolutionized reconnaissance, convoys coursed confidently, lives laced to her legacy. Valeria's voyages vindicated, purpose propelled past peril to paradise. This pulse powers pantheons, the scribe scripting sagas, spanning strife, scrolls, schooling successors, the tiller turning thorns to harvests, tables teeming timeless. Purpose purifies pandemonium, distilling duty to delight. Forsake it, and fames fade faceless. Successes spectral, soon supplanted. Fan it, and firmaments favor, fortunes flowering fervent. Today, trace one buried brook. What wrong in world wakes your warrior? Nurture nascent, nobility nears. Cherish this chapter's clarion. Listener, purpose as the primal current, carving canyons no crown claims. You've heard the river's roar now, ready to ride. Waters wield wonders, yet wellsprings whisper final wisdom. What crowns every choice in daily forge? Wade with me into the forge of daily choices, the hammer honing all into heritage eternal. Chapter 12. The Forge of Daily Choices. Hear the resonant clang of a solitary hammer striking anvil in a pre-dawn smithy. Sparks erupting like newborn constellations against enveloping dark, each measured blow not crafting fleeting trinkets, but etching an immortal sword blade, tempered through thousands of unseen swings, destiny decided in dawn's deliberate dance. No audience applauds the sweat, no glory gilds the grind, just you, the maker, choosing strike over slumber. Listener, this primal rhythm reverberates in your chest now, the forge of daily choices, where character crowns itself through mundane moments turned monumental. Sense the seduction of autopilot, snapped words in traffic, half-hearted efforts at desks, temptations trifled in twilight. What if every ordinary instant weren't oblivion, but the arena where empires eternally emerge? We're wielding this hammer together, forging futures from today's unyielding now. Culminating purpose's profound current from our last chapter. The forge of daily choices distills all virtues into visceral habit, transforming abstract ideals into armored actuality. Success salutes. This isn't sporadic heroism or summit spectacles, it's sacred consistency, the quiet crusade crowning kings in kitchens and cubicles alike. You've surrendered to small sabotages, haven't you? Commitments casually crumbled, potentials pilfered by procrastination's petty theft, trajectories tilted by trifles. Daily choices, dominion, weaving resilience into routines, integrity into interactions, purpose into every pulse. They build the unbreakable you, success not stumbling upon the worthy, but summoned by them. Here, we master this masterful forge, hammering habits that outlast hurricanes. Step into the dawn of Matteo, a cobbler in cobblestoned alleys, where boots wore worlds weary, his stall shadowed by storefront spectacles. Customers clamored for flash. Matteo mended meticulously, stitches, surgical, soles sculpted for strides, spanning seasons. Mornings commenced with choice. Chase trendy trinkets for quick coin, or honor craft's quiet creed. He chose constancy, dawn polishing leathers, dusk dreaming designs from patrons' paces. Rivals rushed replicas, his repairs endured expeditions. Travelers returned as devotees, tales tailoring his trade, royalty requesting rugged reliables. Not fanfare, but faithful footfalls forged his fortune. Matteo's mending unveils daily choices' dominion. They compound into colossi. Imagine coral polyps in turquoise tides, each minuscule polyp layering limestone imperceptibly, reefs rising realms, cradling ocean's orchestra over oceans of time. Your choices, coral likewise, audit afternoons. What words wounded unnecessarily? What task triumphed through tenacity? Chain them consciously, mornings minting one virtue, kindness in commute, focus in first hour. Friction fades to fluency, fortitude forms, families feel fortified, fortunes flower from fidelity's fine weave. Witness wholeness welding, descend to a weaver's weathered loom in valley vapors, shuttling silk through warp and weft. Patterns profound emerging from patterned persistence. One thread true, tapestry transcendent, haste harvests wholes, choice crafts continuity. Your loom loads legacies, tempers tested in trivial trials, graces grown in grocery gauntlets. I've seen scribes scripting ledgers late, legacies launching luminous, gardeners gracing plots daily, harvests hailing heroes. Daily choices aren't drudgery, they're divinity, deifying the doer through devotion's depth. Let this cadence calibrate your core, listener. It catapults cumulatively. Overlooked oversights, ossify obstacles, owned ones, obliterate them. Codify commitment, twilight tallies, choices championed, corners conquered. Struggle, surrender yields supremacy. Envision the lighthouse tender climbing spirals nightly, wick trimmed, beam blazing, ships steered safe through squalls by steadfast signal. Your beacons burn brighter, influences ignited, Ix immortalized by incremental integrity. Now behold Suran, the scribe in besieged citadel, quills quivering as catapults crashed. Guards gambled, generals griped. Suran chose chronicle, recording rations rationed fairly, rallying resolve with rendered realities. Siege shattered, survivors saluted his scrolls, stories spurring sagas spanning spheres. Kings copied codices, Suran's simple duties scripted survival. Daily choices document despite dread, truth over tremor. This forge fires forebears. The sentinel scanning seas solitary, sightings saving squadrons. The baker breaking bread before dawn, bellies bound to benevolence. Choices chisel champions, converting chaos to chronicle. Court complacency and character crumbles. Successes shallow, swiftly sundered. Command them, and cosmos conspires, conquests cascading. Today, claim one crossroads, kindness over curtness, completion over compromise, majesty manifest. Embrace this forge's fierce favor, listener, the daily hammer honing heroes from humble hearths. You've swung true now, sparks signifying sovereignty, character complete, yet crescendo coals. Carry these coals into closing clarity, where journey jewels into eternity's embrace.